Let's work a little bit more with the ecosystem and brushes closer, so we'll look on all those options. For this one, I want to create a terrain, and I'm going to use it, create standard terrain. The reason why I'm using standard terrain because I want to apply my own high fields, and to do this, I'm going to edit object. So right here, a terrain, going to reset, and before preloading high field map, which is actually just the image in a gray, black and white range, I want to increase the resolution of this terrain. And most time I want to match resolution as the image I'm uploading. So currently it will be 2048. So I'm going to set this resolution. Okay, and then now I'm going to load the image. Okay, and I have it right here, see high map. So we'll go select that map. Click OK, and right here we have our image. So what I want to do, I want to put plants some in these areas down below, and also I want to use the ecosystem with a material distribution, so to place some other ones in specific areas. Okay, let's go okay, click OK. We'll take our camera and let's reposition it also. So move it on the side, leave it up, and look down. Sometimes if you have a problem with preview, it's probably we have it after exposure on. So let's disable that. Okay, now we have our terrain, and we can modify several ways. We can enable our global paint tool and just start painting. And in many cases, I maybe use this global paint tool when I have two terrains and I want maybe kind of hide paint between them. So in this case, I can paint on all objects at the same time. But if I only work with one terrain, I do prefer use a paint tool or a material distribution directly from material editor of this object. So we have it in terrain. I'm just going open right here, and we'll go add a new layer. I'm going to add ecosystem layer. So here's a couple things. If we're using distribution and painting, they may conflict that we used on one layer. So what I was meaning, if we let's go right select, and we'll go to select some for tree. Okay, so you notice our paint tool button is enabled. We'll open, and it will bring exactly the same looking ecosystem painter for our global. So we have our brushes. We already have our ecosystem. We can add more as we're going along, but we also have all these different brushes we can use. And by default, it is restrained just to this object on which material we currently use. So what I want to do, I want to go inside the brush, and as example, I want to go modify as environment, and I will use a slope range. Before do this, sometimes you maybe want to use a different mask tools, and mask tools they work this way. So for example, I have right here one mask tool, and it's applied to the brush, not the terrain. So let's, if I go click and paint, and you can see it's actually painting exactly the same as the shape of this brush. So it's all what it does. We can create a very star, type it, and so when we start painting it will add some interesting distribution. Just overall, if you use mask for the brushes, it's an additional effect to you. Okay, let's go right here, we'll reset that one. Okay, next for this brush, what I want to do, it is go in environment, and we'll enable slope constraint. We'll take our slope a little bit more to the flat, and be sure it's kind of nice with the steep, so I'll just add a little bit fuzziness. So in this case, I can start brushing in some of those areas where I want it. But here's my problem is, if I do same as this brush on the same layer as my ecosystem, and I want to go after and modify something, you'll notice it will affect what I'm brushing. So in many cases, what I like to do, it's even create another ecosystem. So you can create as many layers you want with ecosystem, and we can use it this one as our paint. and we'll use this as our distribution. So in that case, we can modify independently and be sure they're not conflicted when we want to modify them. So as I say about distribution, let's look on that one. So distribution, I want to take it and I want to place it plants in the right places. So to do this, I will go have it my map. I'll go enable variable density, is what I'm going to use, and right click edit function. I want to go inside the function editor. If you're not familiar with function editor, be sure to check our upcoming series of the tutorial. We will look more on these functions and we'll go through each function of function editor and look a little bit more in depth how it's work. But for now, I want to utilize this density node. So I'm click our field, go to texture map and select projected texture map. Now I want preloaded the image for this, and I'm going to use the flow image. This is come from world machine that I render. And again, on right here, you can see black, it's a no distribution, and white distribution. We'll just connect it. So if you're interested in some of these maps, how they created with world machine, be sure to check those tutorials on geekatplay.com about world machine and view integration. So right here, come back to our tutorial. We have a project texture, our texture map connected. I want to be sure it's index 1, everything is set, and click OK. Right now, if I try to distribute it, it won't be right, it will be overscale. The reason right here, you can see our scale is set to 3.9. So I want set to 1, and I want to be sure this material set to object parametric. It will take this image and properly scale to the shape of our terrain size. So the next, if I click populate, you'll notice we populated in right areas based on this distribution. So it's going right in this area. But again, in some maybe I don't kind of want to place those trees. So I'm going to remove them and we're going to add something smaller. So let's go to the trees. Okay, and we'll go to select maybe some small pine tree or even red spruce. So yeah, let's go select this one. So we'll have something different. Okay, next, as I selected, I want to verify my density. Just take a little bit down. Okay, we'll leave it all as default. Okay, except for this, because of distribution, I don't want to use it clumping. If I use it non-distributed, I may use it kind of adjust. By default, we don't need a decay, so we'll just leave it right here. Our scaling and rotation, so we're going to go to take our scaling maybe a little bit down even. Okay, direction, well, let's enable a lean out slightly, and I want shrink low density. So we can go now to click populate actually on this one. And you can see it's populating in some of those areas our plant. Let's look okay now. At this moment, I say maybe, you know, I can preview from top map. Okay, it's look okay. I want to add more realistic look with other plants. So I'm going now in a paint tool. Let's add our tree that we had before. So I'm going to select my tree, enable paint tools for this. And I'm going to select paintbrush, or select it. We'll go modify, same what we did before, environment, constraint, the fasten is right here, and I'm just going to paint slightly in this area. Notice that some maybe they're too large. Again, I can clear up, which is nice. It's a different layer. I can take scale, bring the scale down for this tree, a bit lower, and set flow just a little bit lower. Okay, and I can go and paint in some of those areas. Get a little bit on the top, and a little bit more right down right here. Okay, one thing, I have limited density, so let me disable this. Allowed, reduce brush flow, so we can add a little bit more. And just maybe add a few more right here. So this is actually more art for you to where you want to paint, apply. Sometimes you can see it's have a little bit hard to time add, and it's because our slope range we can slightly increase. So this way we have a little bit more painting going around. Okay, and I want to just paint right here a little bit more below, and maybe a little bit on the top. Some around this area. Okay, you can see I modified my brush. I adjusted so you can do a same, include mask and play with different. Included even colors you can change with altitude. So and right here we have our image. So let's go very rough right now. We'll preview. And as I look on this image, I maybe don't like use that map for distribution on small. It's too spread, does not look very interesting to me. So let me go disable that one. I'm going to my distribution, density, and we'll go switch this map to just DK1 deposits. Okay, so let's click OK. It will bring them a little bit down, so they won't be on so much on top, but it will be smaller areas, which make much more interesting. Okay, we can pop up a little bit more also on the density just to see populations. Yes, go a little bit below. Okay, and of course, when you work a little bit more with materials, you probably want to add some additional details. In this case, we'll go just to create another layer. And let's call this snow or something. It depends, or water maybe. Okay, we'll go to preset. Okay, right here we're going to switch natural grain. And we'll go white and maybe just slightly grayish blue kind of. So again, pop up highlights. If you want to add as a little bit snow to this effect, okay, we can go on a transparency, pop up global transparency, add a variable transparency to this. Okay, right here is our transparency, and we'll go to right click, texture map. We'll go to use our flow for this and connect transparency. Okay, be sure this is again set to the object parametric. So in this case we have a kind of more interesting distribution. The one thing you'll notice we need to change, because transparency work a little bit different. What I mean change, if our ecosystem is work white distribution and black node, on our alpha or on our transparency we need to invert that. So we'll have it white areas going in the black one. So it's kind of apply a little bit different. Okay, let's go click OK. And also on this default one, maybe just a little bit darker create, so just to as a contrast. Okay, let's preview. Okay, and you can see we have a nice the materials kind of overlay. Okay, a little bit more trees on the bottom. So at this point I will continue paint, but before continue paint now, when I have a rough layout, probably will go take my camera, bring a little bit closer down to the ground, maybe around here. Just look on position. I think Maybe even a little bit more. Right here. Look, and this time I look and say, oh, you know what? I want to paint some around this area. Some maybe right here to add. We'll go to our paint layer, enable our paint tool, and we already have it kind of saved. So I'm going to paint right around here. So you can see we have a trees. Again, this is a little bit large tree because our scales is 1. So in this case, I can go and select by single instance. So I can select those ones, or we'll go in a brush, erase tool, and I'm just going to erase those big plants right here that was created. So now we're back to the brush. Okay, we'll go to take scale down. Okay, let's disable limit, and we'll have it brush flow lower. One thing, because I close and do not save brush, so let's look what's happened right here. We go to environment, so we don't have our slope restraint. So I want to redone this. In this case, it's what I say, it's if you think you will use this tool or the brush over and over, go ahead and save this brush so it will be in your presets. But for the purpose tutorial, I want to do this. But right here, I'm looking right this area. It's why I want to add more trees. So, and I'm painting, you can see. So I'm going to add a little bit more of them around this area, maybe right on a hill. And I'm previewing right there. It will look a little bit more interesting, I think. And we'll just add to this area. Add a little bit more trees. Okay, as well, let's go a little bit on the back and add some of the tree right on the top of the hills. So you can see with paint tool, even without distribution, we can touch up a little bit better in some areas to bring a little bit more details. So right around here. Okay, now we can close it. Let's click OK. Take our sun. Just maybe bring a little bit lower. So I'm just looking on the best position for the sun, so we have nice beautiful lighting. Okay, right around here. Okay, we can go to atmosphere editor, and I don't want to have two modifications before we render, but I just want to increase some of this aerial effect so we have a nicer haze going over it. And let's go render to preview. Okay, you'll notice right we have a kind of nice look, except the trees, these trees is a little bit too straight. They don't have some of this effect on them. Maybe even change some stuff. So what I'm going to do is go back to terrain editor. Okay, we'll go select our paint. We'll go now closer, like around this area. I'm going to enable paint, and instead of this, I'm going to use some of these tools. So I'm going to select, let's go select Jagger. We don't need this one. We want to lean. So I'm going to select lean tool. Okay. We can set what axis we want it. And it's going along the brush stroke. So we'll set a little bit more on the flow. Let's increase fallout right here. And I'm going to take right closer this tree, and I'm going to brush slightly them out. So in some cases it's harder to see when you increase brush flow. What we do, we affecting some of these trees so they won't actually go straight. They will start leaning a little bit out of our scenery. Okay, so let's go maybe even pop up more. Yeah, there you go. There's come effect. And you can see slightly right here, this tree, you can see how they're changing. It's a little bit subtle view on this. But in this case, these trees, you can see right here, they start kind of more leaning with a brush. So they won't go exactly straight up. Okay, anytime if you need a higher effect, of course, we can increase brush flow and effect. So in this case, it's well stronger. Apply it. Okay. Okay, next we also can add some position triggering on them. So just right here, just a little bit of randomness. It's work very well actually when you do with the rocks and you want to do a little bit better that way. You know what, maybe a little bit more on the lean to add right here. Okay, so we can touch up slightly this effect. And you know, in some cases, maybe we should go inside snow, replace this with a more orange look. So it's kind of pop up more interesting in this our case. So for the orange, it's almost like metallic kind of rusted iron effect. Okay, and we'll go right here. Let's see how our combination will work. We'll add roughness to this. Pop up contrast, actually a bit down. Okay, and the highlights a bit more dull, so we don't want kind of more sandy look. Okay, let's go add one more layer, and that one I actually want to add some grassy green look. So we'll go presence right here, and same things as we have with a brush, we have its slope, range, and everything. So I want to actually take a little bit more on the flat, so we'll have it slope right there. Okay, now color, we'll go to natural grain, and we'll switch this to the grass kind of look. So we'll go between two colors. Okay, stronger roughness. I think this is look okay. Maybe except on a presence, maybe add like around right here. Okay, so we have a nice cover. Just add a little bit more of this greenish look. Okay, let's go down here. Add a little bit more stronger. And I want to take this orange and bring this a little bit up above the others, so we have it nice blending on a back look. Okay, let's look on our mountains. They look dark. Okay, click OK again. Let's take our camera, see if we can bring down. I'm just overall look which one is better. Okay, let's go to the sun, and at this point when you start playing more with the settings, it can take additional time, so I don't want to actually spend too much time on the creating. I just want to be sure this mountain bring nice shadows to give it us a little bit more dimension. Okay. We'll go to atmosphere editor. We have a nice haze. Let me add a ground fog. I just want to compare how much right here will have it cover, maybe a little bit too much. Okay, let me pop up glow intensity, see if our sun bring right a little bit more interesting in this, and scattering to the atmosphere pop up. We'll start losing some of the blue color, but it will add effect. And last touch, let's add clouds. I'll just add dark cumulus clouds, but except I'll take density all the way down and pop up opacity, and we'll add details, altitude variation. So just make a little bit lighter look, and let's take cover a little bit down. So just some kind of almost whispery clouds around. And the reason I add details because they're lower. Let's add some nice effect picture to them. You know, maybe too much on details and a little bit lower on the density. So just almost something there in the air kind of going. Okay, and I'm using photometric spectral. If you need more saturation for illustrations, you can always switch to the standard spectral, and you can see right here we'll start having a little bit more saturation coming on this. But I'll go back to photometric for this. So we'll go back to those settings. Okay, we'll still have some reset, so I want to go bring back some of those hazes. And ground effect. So right here, yeah, it'll give it a little bit more natural look, I think. Let's take down, make the sky a little bit darker. And I still think opacity on the clouds a little bit too high. So I'll just go about maybe even less. 1%. Okay, sometimes it's much easier just go inside and type by itself. So you always can click on and type in. It's sometimes a little bit faster to do that way. Okay, let's preview. Okay, it's look good. One last touch before I want to render. I want to go inside the sun. We'll go to the shadows, and right here I want to take this a little bit down to about 96. So it won't be this darker shadow. There will be a little bit nice, softer shadows in this case without increasing softness. Okay, and we'll go to at least final preview, a little bit higher resolution. Okay, I don't need this one, and I'm going to render right now. I will pause this tutorial and come back when the render is completed. Okay, right here our render is completed. So it took about 2 hours to render this, and we can look closer. You can see right here our tree, and not all straight, some of them a little bit lean out. This is right here actually a very good example. If you're doing this for your production, of course you can add some bump maps to the texture, make it like sandy look and more as a grassy. But purpose of the tutorial was for us to see how the distribution of material ecosystem and how the painting with a custom brush will work. Thank you for watching these tutorials from Geekatplay Studio.